I'm Lisa Pickering, and welcome to CITV's Press Talk. Here's the most recent news and information from the government of Bermuda.
Good morning and welcome. I'm pleased today to provide an update on the compulsory national certification scheme for designated occupations in Bermuda. On June 2016, Parliament was advised that the national certification program had been dormant for far too long, and its future success is a critical component to the sustainability of the workforce. Let me share this morning that this current government has already commenced efforts to change the dormancy of the national certification program and endeavors to implement the necessary training and development programs to support the potential growth of Bermudians. We are committed to leveling the playing field in relation to employment opportunities for those Bermudians who work in the trades. Today, all persons working in the designated occupations of welder, automotive service technician, electrician, and landscape gardener must register with the Department of Workforce Development and pay the required $265 fee to begin the process for national certification. They must register by November 3rd, 2017, and details of the process can be found on the department's website. Persons operating in any of these occupations should be aware that the National Certification Act 2007 stipulates that every person operating in one of these designated occupations are required to be nationally certified. This applies to both Bermudians and non-Bermudians. As previously mentioned, all persons working in these designated occupations must register with the Department of Workforce Development by November 3rd. Following the registration period, the National Certification Program will begin in earnest on December 4th, 2017. This means all registered individuals will be expected to complete the requirements for national certification. Individuals should expect to participate in some form of training and/or assessment process, which will allow evaluators to determine one's level of competency and skills. All persons who have expired certification must ensure that they register to recertify. National certification is valid for 5 years. Local tradesmen not having any formal training or documentation of courses taken will be assessed by a panel of local industry professionals known as the Industry Assessment Panel. Any local tradesman in need of skill set upgrades to achieve certification will be given access to training opportunities through the Department of Workforce Development. Anyone identified as needing additional training to achieve certification will be given up to 1 year to satisfy certification requirements. Staff at the Department of Workforce Development are ready to assist with anyone needing to register for certification, and financial needs for certification will be assessed to assess locals on an individual basis. Those workers in the designated occupations currently holding work permits will be provided a period of 3 months from December 4th to complete the certification process. Failure to register or to complete the certification process by the stated deadlines can result in the cancellation of the work permit. In addition, as prescribed by legislation, work permit holders could also incur a monetary penalty as settled by the courts. Certification is an individual credential and will not be held by a company. Therefore, penalties for non-compliance will be placed on individuals and not their employers. Employers expecting to recruit from overseas should note that applicants must already possess a credentialed or internationally recognized qualification or certification before a work permit will be issued. There will be no more opportunities for guest workers to learn on the job in Bermuda. This is an opportunity that must and will be reserved for Bermudians only. Only current work permit holders will be allowed up to 3 months to qualify for national certification. Businesses should be considering how to develop our local talent using internships, apprenticeships, or training programs readily accessible through the Department of Workforce Development. We must invest in our people in order to sustain economic continuance and promote growth. The Ministry of Education and Workforce Development is constantly working cross-ministry to ensure that goals and objectives are achieved. As we examine the details of the certification program, it was alarming to note that some business owners have not yet registered with the Department of Workforce Development. Over time, this practice must also stop. In order to close this gap, discussions are being held with the Ministry of Transport and Regulatory Affairs to ensure that business vehicles are not licensed without proof of certification. It's important to note that national certification process is not meant to disenfranchise businesses or individuals. This process will enhance the quality of workmanship in Bermuda and produce greater opportunities for Bermudians over time, provided that they are willing to participate in the training that aligns with certification. We must trust our people. We must trust We trust that the people of this country appreciate the sacrifices that must be made by individuals and businesses in order to achieve the desired goal of not just getting everyone back to work, but improving the professional talent and the workmanship that will be sought after both locally and internationally. The consumer is entitled to the benefit of receiving a good product or service. Let me close by saying the Department of Workforce Development will be implementing a public awareness campaign regarding the certification process in order to ensure all individuals affected have a clear understanding. Staff in the department are available to assist that process. Members of the Department of Workforce Development will also be providing further information on the process on Ocean 89 and Power 95 on Friday, October 27th at 7:30 and 8:15 a.m. Other ways to gain information is by calling 292-3700 or visiting the department's website at www.dwd.bm. Thank you.
You mentioned that there could be penalties for work permit holders if they fail to complete the registration process for this program. Does the same apply to Bermudians?
Yes, it applies across the field. The legislation states that anyone working in these designations that is not certified is liable to a fine.
You've been watching Press Talk right here on CITV. Join us next time for your government's news and information. I'm Lisa Pickering.